of the debate, and that's for AU President. So we had one forerunner, one candidate, and then we had two quite soon soon after. So it'll be interesting to see how this one pans out. To begin with, we're going to have a little look at the manifesto points of Miss Jennie Cooper. Let's have a look what she had to say. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Hi there, I'm Jennie Cooper, more commonly known as Coops. I'm studying sport management, have been for 3 years. I've really enjoyed my time at Loughborough, and especially being involved in Loughborough Sport. The highlight for me has been sat recently on the AU executive team, but I've been involved in all levels, from being a sport development volunteer, IMS chair, for example, and sitting on HSF. So I'm 100% committed, driven and determined in everything I do, but keep things light-hearted and I'm up for a laugh. My main manifesto point is creating one AU. With 53 clubs, there is no shadow of a doubt that Loughborough will continue to achieve sporting success. I don't believe it's the sporting substance that needs to change, more the organisational culture. So communication would become the forefront of everything I would do. Therefore, all sporting successes would be praised and all problems tackled. So no, not one club goes unheard. So when it comes to the voting days, please vote Jennie Call on Me Cooper for your next Athletic Union President. Call on Coops to represent your AU.
Please give it up for Jennie Cooper. Thank you, Jennie. Some whooping in the audience there for you. Very good to hear. OK, so we're going to move straight on to the manifesto points of one Mr. Tim Jenkins. Let's have a look at what he had to say.
Hi, I'm Tim Ginger Jenks and I'm running to be your next Athletic Union President. I'm campaigning to be your next Athletic Union President because since coming to Loughborough in 2009, I've really enjoyed being part of Loughborough Sport. Since coming to Loughborough, I've been part of the Men's Hockey Club and this year I've been the Men's Hockey Chairman. If elected, I want to involve AU clubs and students more in the matters that impact upon them. I think it's really important that our AU clubs and students have a say in things that are going to impact upon them this year. I would also work to make Athletic Union finance more open and fair, so that all Athletic Union clubs get the maximum benefit from their money. This year has seen the rollout of a massive new kit deal to all Athletic Union clubs. There have been some teething problems with this, and I'd work over the summer to make sure that any problems are resolved so that we don't have any issues come September when the new students arrive. And finally, I'd want to improve the perception of the Athletic Union to all students across the university and also widen the involvement of non-AU members in some of our already great events such as Superstars. So, vote Ginger Jenks, I'm ready when you are.
Here he is, it's Tim Jenkins. Tim, thanks for joining us. What a dashing orange light. Now, obviously there's been massive enthusiasm for both candidates from the crowd. Jennie, how are you feeling about this evening?
Excited and slightly nervous, but I'm excited to get over my manifesto points.
Good, and Tim?
Slightly excited, but almost too excited, really. Just enjoying
Good.
campaigning, but nerves starting to set in.
Try and bottle that up, Tim. We'll release it in a sec. Keep it there, sir. OK, so we're going to jump straight to Mr. Joe Linsky in the audience. What do they have to say, Joe?
Yeah, a lot of division in this audience, a raucous atmosphere befitting of a sporting contest, I think. We're going to go straight to Chloe Morris. We'll get to as many questions as we can, but is Chloe in the audience this evening? No? Right, I'll read out Chloe's question then, if I can just locate it.
Chloe lost her way over to the union, I think.
She says, I'd be particularly interested in perhaps being able to ask questions of the two guys. I'll skip over that. The two very strong candidates, but how do they plan to resolve issues such as communication and kit, rather than just the identification in their manifestos that these are issues that need resolving? So how are you going to do those things that you've promised in those manifestos, guys?
OK, so it's come up a lot that people may be, making promises that they can't keep. Jennie, is that something that you think your manifesto does, or do you think they're feasible stuff?
I don't think so. With regards to communication, it doesn't take a lot to communicate a lot. So my idea would be doing like weekly newsletters out to the AU. We do get emails as it is from Tim's, but I'd make them a weekly thing and that all AU committee members receive. And each week there'd be a tiny bit about kit, and all it requires is a couple of lines about which clubs are getting their kit when. So that's both communication and kit deals dealt with.
Okay,
in
so
an easy step, so yeah.
that's good. It's good someone covering how they're going to do things. Tim, how are you going to do things?
I think with regards to communication, the issue in my manifesto was largely around decision making and how things affect clubs. I think that from my experience as a club chair this year, decision making on an AU level that affects all clubs needs to be broken down into a much more involving process so that clubs are involved from the start. And I think if I'm elected as Athletic Union President, I think I'd work on that so that when matters arise, when we get big issues coming in, we're involving clubs from the start, we're providing a forum for debate with them, and we're really getting their opinions.
Thank you, Tim. Good stuff. Mr. Timms has joined us on the right. Hello, Lewis. Thank you for joining us. What sort of problems do you think these candidates could face next year? Obviously, they're going to have to plan now how they're going to do things that they foresee, but what do you foresee?
I think with the kit deal in particular, what the question mentioned, basically it's obviously going to be a difficult year with the first year. Teething problems are going to happen. I feel personally that the club committees didn't get the training that they deserved at the end of last year when the kit ordering process was vital. So that's something that we're trying to work on, and I think that's something that the AU will be delivering when it comes down to the kit ordering process for next semester. I think that both candidates have mentioned that communication is key, and I totally agree with them, especially with details such as kit. It's so vital to all of our students. They're parting with their own money. So I think both of them valid points about how they could get the communication across early. I think earlier the better, setting the deadlines of when orders need to be placed and the students receive the correct information from the start, then I think the process will be a lot smoother.
Good stuff. Thank you, Lewis. Jago, you're one to make your views on the AU heard. I'm not sure if you guys have gathered that. What do you have to say to the two candidates here this evening?
Well, let's not be about the bush, Connor. The Athletic Union here in Loughborough is the best in the country, bar none. You know, we've won Bucks 32 years in a row. Lewis is looking like he's going to pick up the 33 in a row, and it's going to be absolutely brilliant, and hopefully that continues. Having said that, there have been some farcical events this year, I have to say. The public relations management regarding the STI's tour deal and the embarrassing U-turn from that, the management of the new Cuckoo kit deal, the ridiculous nature that we've had whereby the rowing club have been gagged from saying anything when their relocation was announced. My question to the two candidates would be, what would you do differently if you were in Lewis's shoes this year?
Okay, Jenny, basically, how are you going to keep him off your back next year?
Well, Jago's moving on, so hopefully that won't matter too much.
Moving on, have you got something planned for him then?
Oh no, not like that.
Finally, Jago.
See ya. No, I'm joking. With regards to each individual case, with the STI deal, me personally, I think I would have approached kind of all members of the AU. So started looking at my executive team, gone to them, and then worked down from there. But I think that's something that I want to pick up on every issue that's probably been raised, is that needs to go through the executive, who are there, who are actually elected by the AU members to represent all the chairs. So if it went through them, and there was actually a formal process of each issue that was raised, and then if the AU exec couldn't come to like a good decision, or thought that it should go to the AU chairs, then it should go to the AGM, which would not just be run by the AU president, but also have contribution from the AU executive team, from their thoughts and opinions as well, so that when issues do arise and problems may go wrong, it's not actually just the AU president that's to blame. And I think that Tim's has received a lot of blame for things that are not necessarily just his fault. But obviously, being AU president, you're both the face and the voice of the AU, so you do have to take responsibility for these things. So yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, and Tim, will you be wielding your hockey stick every time Jago walks through your door next year, or have you got some answers also?
I think this discussion seems to centre around the STI Tours deal announced quite close to the beginning of the year. I think from my perspective, being responsible for one of the largest and most successful clubs on campus, we certainly as a club felt that it came out of the blue. We had no input into it, and we had no say. We didn't know it was going to happen. And I think from what I said earlier and what's in my manifesto, I think this really highlights that it's really important that AU clubs are involved in this process, so increased communication. Loughborough Sport as an entire entity is I'm of the impression that they have employed consultants to find sponsorship deals for Loughborough Sport for the AU. You know, if we're going to be getting these deals coming in thick and fast as what is hoped for, then these deals need to be going to our athletic union clubs. They need to be given to our club chairs to go over, see if how they impact on their clubs, and we really need to bring in a forum for debate. And you know, as Jenny's spot on, if there is disagreement between clubs, then we need to bring it to athletic union general meetings and really nail down what's good about it, what's bad about it, and make a final decision that's in the interests of all athletic union members.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Lewis, do you think both candidates through those responses are pretty switched on for next year?
I do agree. For example, it's a bit difficult with the STI sports store deal, for example. The pressure that you put under to make a decision on the spot, one of the key elements of it was the AU Sports Bazaar. That's a massive marketing tool, and that's at the very start of Freshers. You've got to understand that the whole rebrand and the whole kit process is brand new this year, so there was a lot of kind of focus on that, and it's the first time we've ever gone into sponsorship sort of deals, and we're using Oaks Consultancy, as Tim correctly said. But basically, when you put under that sort of pressure, it's quite difficult, and when it's the start of the year, when the clubs are focusing on like promoting their club and trying to get as many members as they possibly can, they're not really concentrating on those sort of deals, and they don't really see the benefits that it could have.
Yeah. How do you think the candidates are going to handle those sorts of things next year?
I think both of them will do, and I think what we've established from the AU and from the general meetings that we've had is that it does need to filter down through the committees, and that they do need to have the input that they deserve. I think both candidates have both clearly stated that needs to happen, so they're going the right way about it, to be honest.
Brilliant, thank you, Lewis. Sound advice there. Sophie, you've got mic in hand.
It's just like the word communication has been thrown around quite a lot in the last couple of minutes, and as much as I don't know that much about AU, I'm not going to pretend I do. I can tell that communication is quite a big, important thing. You know, you're in charge of a lot of people. What I want to know is exactly sort of how you do that. I mean, Tim, especially, you say, you know, in your manifesto, you mentioned that you want people to be able to come to you sort of when they've got problems. But that's all very well and good to say that. But one thing I've noticed, I mean, especially people are all sort of, like, you know, they're very keen to sort of email and complain and say stuff like that. But when it comes to opportunities to come to events like this, we see a drop in numbers. You know, people complain over sort of like keyboard and stuff like that. But when it comes to actually sort of questioning, they sort of take a back seat. So sort of how exactly would you deal with it? I mean, would you have open forums, meetings? Like, how would that work? I mean, you've got a lot of training schedules to work around. How would you deal with the sort of the constant barrage of sort of complaints or requests and things like that? Because it's easy to say that's what you want to do, but to implement that's going to be a lot more difficult.
Okay, Tim. So, how are you going to make sure that people can come through your door, the average sort of AU member?
I think to go with the communication issue in terms of deals coming in terms of forums for debate, I think something set up online. We got fantastic media department here, online services with loughborough.net. We can find a way of disseminating information to AU clubs through that in a private environment where we can highlight and outline benefits of deals, the key points, and clubs can feed back, because clubs are the ones that know how their clubs work in most detail. They feed back how they, through this online system, or even if it does have to go to meetings, if they feed back through that, then all AU clubs can see the benefits to and disadvantages to all clubs. In terms of an average AU member, I think something that's been highlighted is that I believe in an athletic union satisfaction survey, 40% of those taking the survey believe that the athletic union is closed or has a negative perception. And I think that the way we could move to improve that is, like with all of our lecturers will have office hours. I think a way to move towards being more open as an athletic union is to perhaps have time set aside when members can come in to the athletic union office, meet with the athletic union president, express their concerns or praises if they want to bring them in a fair environment that is otherwise identified.
Okay, thank you, Tim. And Jenny?
I think that's a very good idea, but also, who says that they need to come to us? And a thing I was thinking about was maybe going to AU trainings and putting myself in their shoes and finding out what they want, rather than waiting for a complaint to come to me. So before the complaints come in, find out what they want and what they would intentionally complain about throughout the year. Also, one of my things is long-term development of the AU. and each individual club. So at the beginning of the year, you'd have a development meeting, and you'd meet with myself if I was elected, and we'd discuss your plan for the year, and then you'd have a midterm review halfway through the year, and then at the end, you'd assess what you've achieved and whether you've achieved what you wanted. And I believe in the AU President's schedule, there is time for this. I have had a look into it. And I think it works effectively. I've done it myself in other things, such as being IMS chair. It's kind of like a transferable thing when you have 16 halls with all different kind of cultures, and they all want different things. I kind of want to apply the same experience I've had there and take it through to AU President, where you have 53 clubs all wanting different things. So, yeah, that's what
Lovely. Thank you, Jenny. Great stuff from both candidates there. I'm afraid that's actually all we've got time for this evening.